This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
That is a very interesting story. He was fined $75,000 for hitting Mohamed Massaquoi, and it was a nasty hit back in the day. And that was in the era where the CTE started to really come to the forefront, and the NFL was trying to really press down on players to stay away from the dirty hits. And obviously Harrison was involved in several dirty hits, questionable, however you want to do it. So Tomlin was fined $75,000 by the league. Now, he was on a podcast, and he was explaining what happened in that situation with the fine and the experience and his experience after the fine. Listen here.
The most you've ever been fined in one game?
One game was 75.
Ooh, is that the Massaquoi hit?
Yeah. Dude, how you gonna find me setting for the dude? Oh, listen. Listen. Everything I love on my daddy's grave, I hit that man with about max 50% of what I had, and I just hit him because I wanted him to let loose of the ball. If I had knew they was gonna find me 75,000, I would have tried to kill him. Dude, I'm telling you,
right?
75,
and people.
And I ain't gonna lie to you. But that happened, right? And the G's thing Mike Tomlin ever did, he handed me an envelope after that. I ain't gonna say what, but he handed me an envelope after that.
So he is insinuating, James Harrison does understand that by saying he handed him the envelope, he's saying that Mike Tomlin gave him $75,000 to cover for the fine. Now, this is a myth that we have talked about forever in sports. That, he won't pay that fine. The owner will give him the money. Somebody will give him the money. We have said that forever. This is the first time that myth and reality actually collide. Because that conversation, we've all had it. And we've all said, now, come on, dude. If he's doing this for a reason and he knows he's going to get fined and they're all right with it and the team really isn't over, well, they got to be covering the fine, right? And this is the first time we hear of this. Now, I know Art Rooney came out and issued a statement, says, I'm very certain nothing like this ever happened. What else is he going to say, right? Sean Payton, by the way, bounty gate, suspensions, all kinds of stuff. Well, he was on 105.7 The Fan and says, I would be shocked, okay, if the league looked into it. That'll be something that'll be tucked away under the rug at Park Avenue. They'll look into it briefly. Listen, don't get me started on that. I lost $6 million in salary, and honestly, it was something that I'll never truly get over because I know how it was handled and how it was run and the reasons behind it. That's just the truth. So, Sean Payton's already bitter about this stuff. Okay, I mean, the Saints should be about the most bitter organization out of all of this because they've had so many different shady things happen to them, on the negative side. Although Bounty Gate, they kind of brought it on themselves because you brought on that coach. So you kind of earned it. But whatever. The point is, James Harrison just ratted out Mike Tomlin. James Harrison, what he did now, because remember, this is precedent. So by him doing this now, other owners, coaches, anybody else that wants to cover a fine may not cover it anymore now. They say that what happens in the locker room is supposed to stay in the locker room, right? Isn't that what players tell us all the time? Isn't that what coaches tell us? Well, we're going to handle it inside. We're going to talk to each other inside. Well, no, that's a family matter. We're going to talk about it. Well, Mike Tomlin came to you, James Harrison, as a family, okay? And telling you, hey, we're behind you, man. We get you. You played the game the right way. we feel that was borderline. We got your back. Here's $75,000. You're supposed to reward Mike Tomlin by keeping your mouth shut, James Harrison. I get it, bro. You're away from the game, but Mike isn't. You're away from the game. The Rooneys aren't. You're away from the game. The Steelers are still in the game. Now, I don't know if Kevin Colbert or Mike Tomlin or you didn't end things well with them. Doesn't sound like it because you just said that was the most G thing Mike Tomlin has ever done. So if he's a G, then why are you a stool pigeon, bro? If he's a G, why are you being such a bitch, James Harrison? Why are you opening your mouth, dude? Why are you ratting out a guy that helped you? So you can't complain about $75,000 you didn't pay for. So, James Harrison, you can't sit there and say, oh, most I got fined was $75,000. You can't bitch about it anymore. You can say, hey, most I got, yeah, 75. Yeah, no big deal. We paid it, whatever. Part of the game. Move on. Water under the, don't elaborate. Don't go into, oh, I'm not going to, hey, you know, and I think he's telling the truth. I don't think he's lying, actually. I think Art Rooney's lying. Or better yet, I think Art Rooney's naive and doesn't know it went on. Mike Tomlin will be lying soon if he goes out and denies it. Because that's the way I feel that this really happened now. But what I also feel is, James, dude, you screwed Mike Tomlin, bro. And Mike Tomlin's got to be sitting back smoking his cigar going, you mean I gave this guy $75,000 to make him feel better about that hit, that he's not losing his money, the company's taking care of it, okay? And he's now going to rat me out and the team? And Mike, by the way, may have to fall on the sword here for the team. Because even if the Steelers gave him the money and then he went to James Harrison, now Mike Tomlin has to take and bite the bullet and lie on the sword. And bet your ass that Mike Tomlin will do what James Harrison won't do. Lie on the sword. Mike Tomlin will not say, the Rooneys gave me the money so I can give it to Harrison. He's not that bitch. I'm just saying, look, I know James Harrison can crush me with one leg. But I got to call it like I see it. James, that was a bitch move. Okay? You ratted out the dude that helped you. To me, that's the most egregious thing of all of this. The Steelers were showing you love. Tomlin was showing you love. They were supporting you. You have no right to get mad at that $75,000 fine. In fact, you should have told that interviewer there that you should have said, yeah, I got fined $75,000. I deserved it, man. You know, I knocked the crap out of this kid, and they fined me, and I had to pay it. What'd you feel about paying it? What can I do, man? It's part of the game. It sucks. I hate losing 75, but I did. And that's it. Leave it that way. Don't be disgusted by it because you got no reason to be disgusted by it. You don't need to hit them with all you have and would have killed them because they paid the fine for you. They allowed you an illegal hit on the house. And you repaid the Steelers and Mike Tomlin by ratting their asses out. Very uncool. James Harrison, I hope you are picking up the phone today. I pray you are calling Mike. No, you know what, James Harrison? You need to fly over to Mike Tomlin's house and stay about 6 to 10 feet away with a mask, okay? And apologize face to face to that man. And apologize like you mean it, James Harrison. Because what you did to Mike Tomlin is inexcusable. And I get it. You got caught up in the emotion and you wanted to be cute and you wanted to tell an inside story and all that. But you got to think a little bit more because you were getting somebody else in trouble in a big-time way. And now Mike Tomlin is taking he's taking a little bit to answer to this because he's got to check with his agent. He's got to check with the team. He's got to make sure he gets his ducks aligned before he comes out in public and says whatever story he's going to give us. Okay? When he sits down there and starts telling us that he didn't give him the hey, man, I just gave him a thank you note or whatever, it's going to be the same thing as Bill Clinton looking at me telling me, oh, guys, I didn't inhale when I took a toke of that joint. No. Okay? You have put that guy in a terrible position. That's all I got to say, James Harrison. Screwed up, dude. Not cool. Richard says Harrison is smoking too much dope. You could be right. Alex says, well, I don't believe Harrison, but either way, it still puts Tomlin in a horrible position. Alexa says he couldn't keep his mouth shut. Doesn't Harrison live in South Florida? I don't know if he does or not, but he needs to fly to Pittsburgh. Okay? All I know is he needs to go apologize to Mike Tomlin because Mike Tomlin was being a G. Okay? Let's get that straight. He's right about that. That was a G move by Mike Tomlin, and it's a myth that we've all been carrying forever. We've all said it. At one point or another, when we see somebody with a fine, don't worry about it. Team will cover that. They'll never pay that fine. And now we finally got proof that it does happen. Very uncool, man. Very uncool. By the way, saying he would have gotten his money's worth shows how dirty of a player he was. But then again, it would have been Tomlin's money's worth. Exactly. Well, no, I don't even believe it was Tomlin's money. I believe it's the Steelers' money. There's no doubt in my mind that came from above Tomlin. No doubt in my mind. But Tomlin will never say because Tomlin is a G. He's not gonna rat his team out. Tomlin may have to absorb the fine. He may have to take blame. He may have to be the lightning rod of the whole thing because of James Harrison, dude, just so he can get the Rooneys and the team out of it. Seriously, because if he absorbs it all, then the team cannot be, whatever fines or draft picks or whatever. And then whatever they fine Tomlin, guess who's paying it anyway? James Harrison. Anyway, 786-322-1105 if you want to get in on the accidentlawfirm.com text line. That's 786-322-1105 if you want to get in. Clarence Collins says, Big O, remember Harrison left Pittsburgh and went to the Patriots. He was upset he wasn't playing in his comments. He's probably telling the truth. That's worse than snitching, the flat-out hoe crap. Yeah, but you might be right. Okay, Clarence, you might be 1,000% right. But the moment he says that the most G thing Tomlin ever did, that tells me he doesn't really have anything against Tomlin. Maybe it was a Kevin Colbert move that they parted ways with Harrison, and maybe it wasn't a Tomlin move. But I just don't like the fact that you put your coach, who apparently was doing something super freaking cool, by the way, okay? Let me be on the record on that, okay? If your company's going to back you up and pay that fine, that's freaking awesome, man. You know how the Panthers are covering their employees through the pandemic? That's freaking awesome. That kind of that's the kind of awesome I'm talking about. I find that really cool on behalf of the employer. They're backing their people, and that's cool. But you can't repay Tomlin by ratting his ass out. you know what? If they were both 75 years old and they were, close to the end of their lives and they were both old men and football was way past them 30 years later and they both wanted to talk about it, at that point when they're 30 years removed from the game or something, okay. Whatever. Both. I'm saying they're both in on it. But Harrison cannot do what he did. So he can't, man. You just can't do that kind of stuff. The poor guy has now got to answer to all that. Mike Tomlin, bro, has got to deal with Le'Veon Bell and all kinds of crazy stuff. Got to deal with Antonio
AB
Brown.
Video in the locker room.
Everything. All kinds of stuff with AB. Apparently there were way more things. Ben Roethlisberger's a bitch. This guy deals with all kinds of crazy ass stuff behind the scenes. I used to think Tomlin was kind of losing it a little bit with the Steelers. I'm now at a point where the dude's a magician just to be able to keep all this crap afloat. I mean, how Mike Tomlin was able to control Antonio Brown for a couple of years before Antonio Brown finally just imploded completely is amazing. It really is. It's impressive. And this is how you reward the guy? The guy that clearly does a great job of backing his players, covering for his players, somehow or another finding a way to keep players on the field, because obviously Antonio Brown was doing a lot of stupid-ass crap, and they were somehow finding a way to keep him on the field and productive. I tell you, man, it's the other way around. I was wrong. That guy becomes more and more impressive either way.
Peyton got suspended for a year, right?
Huh?
Peyton got suspended for a year,
lost
right?
$6 million, he said, yeah.
Is that what we're looking at here?
I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea. Clarence says, I agree, but saying Tomlin gave him an envelope is devastating. That's at least an investigation. Terrible. He wants to hurt the organization. You know what, Clarence? You could be right, and maybe that's what he wants to do is hurt the organization. You know what I mean? Why would you do something like that? Gallego says, Big O, do you think it would affect him getting into the Hall of Fame? No. He'll get into the Hall either way. That has nothing to do with it, bro.